Let's take a look at the Week 5 AP Top 25, see how far Oklahoma moved up and who might have moved down. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on the step mill. If this is your first time watching Adapt and Respond, thank you for joining us here. We talk college football year-round. If you're into that, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like this video, and answer the question in the comments below. How far up do you think Oklahoma should have gone after its 24-17 win against then number 22 Auburn? Oklahoma was number 11 going into that game. We also got the first win for a Notre Dame team that was ranked despite being winless. I also want to take a look at just who was able to move up in a bye week and where Oregon, Penn State line up as we're getting into one of the bigger games in this all-important Week 5. So let's start at number 1, Ohio State. That makes sense to me. They have not lost. They have a great win against Texas. They go into Big Ten competition this week against Washington and Damon Williams. Damon Williams might actually be one of the more, shall we say, rising stars in the sport, given what he was able to do against Washington State. 298 passing, 88 on the ground, 4 total TDs, outstanding performance from him in the Apple Cup, and Jedd Fisch's first win on the road as head coach at Washington. Number 2, Miami moves up there after beating up on Florida. It was kind of tight late, but I think this is more about what Miami might be doing by the time they play Florida State, which feels like it could be a top 10 matchup because Florida State has been absolutely rocking since beating Alabama. Turns out Alabama's not as bad as we thought. Florida State might be better than we thought. Penn State's at 3. They're down a spot after being idle last week. Miami moves up in that spot. LSU's at 4. Georgia's at 5. Oregon's at 6. So Penn State doesn't get to shake off the 1-15 against top 5 opponents as Oregon's number 6, but it's still a game I expect Oregon to win. And if Penn State fans feel some kind of way about it, let me know in the comments. Talk about Oklahoma at 7. Great win against Auburn. There's a controversial touchdown call that turned out to be illegal. The referees did not catch it. The SEC officiating has said, hey, look, we will take action, but the win's going to stand. It's one where Isaiah Satanga was simulating walking off the field, ends up being a trick play, a hidden ball kind of play. He's wide open. John Mateer finds him. That is an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. Should have been penalized 15 yards. Referees missed it. Auburn fans will say they were robbed. I will say that anytime you allow your quarterback to get sacked 10 times, you did not get robbed. You opened the front door, you invited the intruders in, and they took what they wanted. At number 8, we got Florida State, who beat the snot out of Kent State despite a weather delay. Tommy Castellanos continues to be outstanding. A&M at 9 after being idle last week. Texas is down to 10 despite a 55-0 stomping out of Sam Houston. Arch Manning looks to have shaken off some of the rust, but let's see him do it against Power 4 competition. Indiana at 11. I thought this was a top 10 team. After beating up on a number 9 Illinois 63-10, I don't think the AP really has a great read on what Indiana has been doing. Fernando Mendoza is outstanding. 5 TDs. They rushed for over 300 yards. They put up over 500 yards. They had 35-10 at halftime. Indiana is going to have to be dealt with. When they go to Austin to play Oregon, that's going to be appointment television. Texas Tech's up to 12 after Will Hammond comes in the middle of the third quarter, backup quarterback for Texas Tech, to lead this team to a more decisive victory. It felt like the offense was running much better with Will Hammond, who is just as good passing as he is throwing. He's throwing darts against the Utah defense. That Texas Tech defensive line feels like the kind that can win a national championship. They were outstanding against what Kyle Whittingham had called in Big 12 preseason his best offensive line. Devin Dampier could do nothing. Hammond had thrown for 3,900 yards and rushed for 1,000 as a junior. This is his redshirt freshman year. He got all the first team spring practice snaps because Baron Morton was out with injury. And now that Morton has been knocked out of this game, it might be Will Hammond to start the rest of the way. Morton, though, was averaging 464 yards through the air and led the FBS in touchdowns. Ole Miss is at 13 with Trinidad Chambliss, all gold everything, as that dude has put up more than 800 yards offense in 2 games, and he is also the backup quarterback at Ole Miss. I don't know that Austin Simmons might make it back out there if Trinidad Chambliss is continuing to play like this, and it's great to have this kind of champagne problem if you're Lane Kiffin. Iowa State's at 14. They were idle last week. Tennessee beat snot out of UAB. Another pretty outstanding performance for Joey Aguilar. I think Tennessee is still right there. Them getting leapfrogged by Oklahoma, I thought that was I say leapfrog by Oklahoma. They're sticking at 15. Nothing has changed there. They were Oklahoma was at 13, and then they were at 11. Number 16, Georgia Tech. Number 17, Alabama. Number 18, Vanderbilt, who got a really great win against Georgia State. It looked like an SEC team that was playing against Georgia State. great. Michigan's up to 19 off a win against Nebraska on the road. Justice Haynes had 17 rushes for 149 yards. The defense still gave up 300 yards passing to Dylan Raiola. And we're talking about 28 consecutive losses to ranked opponents by Nebraska. Missouri's up to 20. I think this is a top 15 team easily. That was a really great win they got last night against South Carolina. Kind of game they would have lost last year. Ahmad Hardy's still a dude. Bo Pribula didn't play his best football, but the ways in which they were able to stop that South Carolina run game were rather awesome. Like, they had no run game whatsoever. Lenore Sellers rushed for something like minus 28 yards. It was really impressive by their defense. That's a physical football team that could be in the playoff hunt sooner rather than later. Number 21, USC gets a good win against Michigan State. It was kind of tight there in the first half, and then they slowly pulled away. It's starting to look like a Lincoln Riley football team, the way they're able to run it and pass it. Notre Dame's up to 22 off of a win against Purdue on the road. Illinois down to 23 off of a 53-point loss to Indiana. Number 24, we got Texas Christian, who is undefeated. They got a win against Southern Methodist. Southern Methodist continues to plummet after getting not one but two losses. And BYU is up to 25. We'll see what they can do later, as they might be a force in the Big 12. Right now, it feels like Iowa State, Texas Tech are the two best teams in that league. BYU's trying to punch through. Arizona State, Baylor was fun. Arizona State ends up pulling it out. I think Oklahoma and Texas having the potential to be a top 10 matchup when OU Texas plays is kind of welcome. It feels like old times all of a sudden. Going into this season, did feel like this was going to be as fair a fight as it's turning out to be. I think Texas versus Texas A&M, if they're still 9-10 in November, that's going to be an outstanding game. So we also get Texas going to Georgia to play basically the number 5 team in a place where they haven't lost in like 3 years. This is about to get hectic. This is about to get fun. Like, Oklahoma's got Kent State, which I was jokingly calling a bye week. I don't think people picked up on the joke. It's okay, because there's a bye that comes after the Kent State game. But the Golden Flashes got stomped out last week. They got stomped out the week before. They're trying to make some money to make their program a little bit more flush with cash so that they can maybe start playing for real in the MAC. I'm not really enthusiastic about Notre Dame being here, but I ranked them 2, mostly because that's what the public will allow. I don't know if Notre Dame is a top 25 team at 1 and 2, but they got an opportunity to prove it. If Arkansas can get a win, it feels like it might be the win that can save Sam Pittman's job. Arkansas fans might want him to lose that game, but Notre Dame will know that it's a team that can score in a hurry. Taylor Green is a dude. They can run the football. Jeremiah Love was outstanding against Purdue. Jordan Faison had 100 yards receiving in that game. That's pretty good. The other one here I think we're paying attention to is just what they do with Oregon if they can get the win against Penn State. It's a team that the AP is not liked. They docked this team 2 spots for beating Northwestern on the road by 20 points. So we'll wait and see. But that is the AP Top 25. Let me know what you think in the comments below.